everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040, bringing to you another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. And today marks 20 years ago, on March 31st, 2003, that Bill Goldberg made his WWE debut on Raw the night after WrestleMania 19. And for this special edition, I'm going to talk about Bill Goldberg's first run in WWE, and I'm going to talk about the success and failures of that first run from March 2003 to March 2004. So, as everybody remembers, WCW was bought out by WWE in 2001, and a few months after, we got the car crash of an angle known as Invasion, where we saw WCW guys invade WWE, but it wasn't really WCW. It was all of the lesser known guys from the roster. The only two big names you really had from WCW was Diamond Dallas Page and Booker T. And then later on, they brought in ECW, merged the two companies together, and became the Alliance with Shane McMahon as the WCW owner and Stephanie McMahon as the ECW owner. And although I enjoyed a lot of the matches and the pay-per-views around that time, if you look at it in real life, it was just WWE guys versus WWE guys with a couple of WCW guys and ECW guys added to the mix. So there wasn't any of the big names that we wanted to see have dream matches with WWE guys. So Ric Flair obviously appeared the night after Survivor Series 2001. And then in 2002, we started seeing guys like the NWO, comprised of Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. And then we saw at the end of the year, Scott Steiner made his debut on Raw as well. So we started seeing all these WCW guys coming in. But the one guy that everybody wanted to see make his WWE debut was Bill Goldberg, but it never happened. Speculation was running around. Is he going to come? Will he sign? Who will he face? Never happened until the night after WrestleMania 19. Bill Goldberg came out and interrupted The Rock's promo speech about beating Austin and just speared him. Great debut, great pop. In my honest opinion, I still say to this day, Bill Goldberg's best match in WWE was against The Rock at Backlash 2003. It was a fantastic match. Rock made Goldberg look like a legit monster. He sold the hell out of those spears like I've never seen anyone sell before. He really made those moves look devastating. And for me, Rock was a class act. He made Goldberg look very, very strong. And Bill Goldberg was off to an amazing start. Now, this is where the failures start to come in. Obviously, WWE is different to WCW, and WCW, of course, built Goldberg up as this unstoppable monster. He had that long streak, which I still say shouldn't have been ended. If it was going to be ended, it should have been ended in the correct manner. I just felt the way they defeated him, with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall using a taser to beat him. I just thought it was stupid. But with Bill Goldberg's WWE run, as I said, got off to an amazing start, had a great match with The Rock, made him look like a monster. But then something happened, he wasn't on all of the pay-per-views. Obviously we had the brand split. Raw had their pay-per-views and SmackDown had their pay-per-views as well. Bill Goldberg wasn't even on the card at Judgment Day 2003, which I thought was ridiculous. He should have been part of the show. He was part of Bad Blood. He had a great match with Jericho. Although I do think the match against The Rock was slightly better. But I thought Chris Jericho versus Goldberg was still a solid match. I thought it was pretty good. And then you get to SummerSlam 2003. Elimination Chamber, Triple H, Randy Orton, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and of course, Bill Goldberg. Excellent match. Goldberg came in, kicked ass, destroyed everyone. we were robbed of seeing Nash and Goldberg going at it for a while, but it was still great to see, Goldberg just going in, being a monster, and came down to him and Triple H. In my honest opinion, if there was one match Goldberg should have won, it should have been the Elimination Chamber at SummerSlam. I felt that when Goldberg lost, I think that was really the end of his momentum. I think his mystique got murdered. Yes, he did win the world title against Triple H the following month at Unforgiven, but I think really the damage was already done. I think there was no going back really because SummerSlam should have been his night. I think what they could have done to save face, so to speak, is that whole concept of if Goldberg loses, he leaves WWE forever. I think really what should have happened was if he lost, he should have left Raw and gone straight to SmackDown. I think if Bill Goldberg left Raw and went to SmackDown, I think we could have been having a very different conversation because I think the quality of matches and the quality of opponents, if he was on SmackDown, would have been a lot better for his WWE run. He could have got to mix up with Brock Lesnar. We could have had better matches with Brock Lesnar as well. Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Big Show, The Undertaker, of course. There's lots of good opponents on SmackDown. Edge as well. If Edge hadn't got hurt, we could have probably have seen that as well. I think Bill Goldberg should have gone to SmackDown. I think that could have salvaged his WWE run because I've read reports that Bill Goldberg was very miserable during his first WWE run. And I felt that on Raw, apart from The Rock, which I enjoyed that feud very much. The Evolution feud, it was good, but I felt that it went on for far too long and it kind of got boring after a while. I would have liked to have seen Goldberg have a nice, good feud with Kane, especially as Kane was already a rampaging monster unmasked. I think that could have been quite cool and maybe could have built a story up about can Bill Goldberg keep the monster down? Can he keep Kane down? I think that would have been a good feud to work with. But I just felt that most of Goldberg's run was wasted on Triple H and Evolution. As much as I love Evolution, you know, I just felt a lot of it was wasted on those guys. I think maybe some of that time could have been invested in other guys, but that's just my opinion. Would have loved to have seen Goldberg have a pay per view feud with Shawn Michaels. I mean, yeah, I know they faced each other on Raw, but it didn't go anywhere. It just went to a no contest. I think there's so many guys Bill Goldberg should have worked with in his first run, and of course his final match at WrestleMania 20, where he faced Brock Lesnar. I was absolutely disappointed with that match. I think it should have been a hard hitting classic. Raw's biggest monster versus SmackDown's biggest monster on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Garden, and just those two should have gone to war. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. People got wind that Goldberg was leaving. People knew Brock Lesnar was going, so you can imagine the public's reaction like, oh, great, so they're both going. Well, they can go to hell then. But in my honest opinion, if I had to say whether or not Bill Goldberg's first WWE run was a success or failure, I would say it was a complete failure. Got off to a great start with The Rock. Love that feud. The feud with Jericho, yeah, that was pretty good. The stuff with Triple H and Evolution, yeah, it was all right, but it went on for far too long and it got very boring. Bill Goldberg's world title run, it was okay, but again, too much of Triple H. Absolutely wasted on Triple H. Far too many matches with him. Should have faced Kane for the title, as I said earlier. A little feud with Shawn Michaels would have been great. You know, yeah, I just didn't think his world title run was that great, and it didn't last that long. I think he held the title from September to December, so like a couple of months, like nearly 3 month run. Yeah, it's not really great, is it? A 3 month title run, and all those matches were Triple H. So what can you do, really? But yeah, I think overall, I would say his first WWE run of Bill Goldberg was a failure, if I'm truly honest. His second run in 2016, yeah, it was all right. Slight improvement, but not much. Matches were way too short. But what do you expect? Goldberg was a lot older. But yeah, I think the first run was one of those things where it was okay, but it could have been a lot better. But then ultimately, it just crashed. So what can you do? But quite amazing when you look back, when you think about it. It's been 20 years since Bill Goldberg came into WWE, which was something a couple of years earlier was just unthinkable. You just didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah, it started off well, but didn't end so great. But that's just my opinion. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on Bill Goldberg's first WWE run? Did you enjoy it? Did you have any favourite matches that you liked? Do you deem it a success or a failure? And if so, is there anything you would have liked to have seen? Was there anything you would like to have changed? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Wrestling Discussion Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.